Here we are, episode 3 after our break. I'm excited to sit down with this author. He does so much. He has a nonprofit, he's an entrepreneur, and for today's purpose, he is the author of The Golden Rules of Success. We are diving into V. Krishna's Lakkineni's book, or as everyone calls him, VK. And his book is on the world's leading entrepreneurs and professionals, revealing their golden rules on how to succeed in both business and life. My name is Vincent A. Lanci, and I welcome you to another episode of Writing with Authors. We have a great one ahead. We're going to learn about his process of becoming a contributing author, all about his golden rule in this book, of course, some writing tips for success, and so much more. VK, thank you for joining the show.
Hey, Vincent, thanks for having me.
I'm excited to learn your writing journey and, of course, everything that goes into it. Tell me more about this book. Where did you get the inspiration to join? Were you the originator? So many questions I hope you can answer about your work as a contributing author here on the Golden Rules of Success.
Yeah, this was my fourth book. Once you're an entrepreneur, you learn so many things in life because you're on your own pretty much, and you're learning, experimenting, and you're growing. And then you accomplish everything pretty much in terms of the wealth and success. And then you start thinking about how do you give back? Even though I always had that as part of my business plan, like having those philanthropic effort as part of my overall business. And I think there are different tools that you can use to get that awareness and empower people. And I found out, just by reading books, because those apps and Audible doesn't exist 20 years ago. So pretty much whatever I learned, it's through the books. And I always wanted to contribute, and it's in my manifestation list. So when my first opportunity showed up, and I'm like, okay, this is great and interesting. And then I think I found it easier when you are collaborating and doing this work, because releasing a book is, of course, not easy, and there's a lot of steps involved. You got to find your agents and find your path, whether it's going to be self-published or what, how are you going to get that word out. And I think the common perception is people think others make a lot of money, and very few, like you got to be like Barack Obama to get that $50 million deal for the book, right? So there are common misperceptions. And then my personal goal with any of the projects is, how can we create more awareness along the ways of just not the knowledge, but also how do you create more wealth so that you can contribute to kids in developing countries. So all the proceeds from this Golden Rules of Success book went to Entrepreneurship Foundation, which helped buy laptops for an orphanage in Mexico. So there's always that purpose behind every project I do. And Golden Rules of Success, like I said, it's a fourth project. So once you're on the radar with the publishers and other co-authors, they kind of easily show up. Hey, I'm writing this other book and you have a great story. Do you want to contribute to that, right?
I love it. I was also recently a contributing author as well. A big shout out to Teresa Velarde. She wrote a book series, and one of the books is on gratitude, so I was able to lend a chapter there. I didn't know you had all these other books. The booking agent here presented this book as, I guess, your
This is the
latest
most
book,
recent.
not
Yeah.
your newest book. I mean, not your only book, excuse me. Let's talk a little bit more about your other books. I'd love to shed some light on them.
So there was another book. It's called The Big Secret, co-authored with Jack Canfield, and it was more about the law of attraction and manifestations. And Golden Rules of Success is more about an entrepreneurship. And then I did also contribute to the book. It's called 365 Days of Gratitude, and just kind of my pace is like the day, like how do you set yourself for the day, and
Yeah.
also has that mental health aspect of it around every day. And the other book is basically coffee table book, and it's just with very specific people, and distributed to some of the clients. And it's anthology one, and some of the co-authors in that book is like people like Sir Richard Branson.
I love it. Well, you've had a bunch of experience acquired throughout writing all these books. What is some writing advice, some writing tips you can lend forward to everyone tuning in today?
I think the biggest takeaway is don't force yourself to write. And, if you want like really authentic, natural story around your life, and if you want to change people, the best way is storytelling and make it authentic and make it as unique as it can be. But, how do you write? Like, the writer's flow and writer's block are real things. So when you are in the flow, how do you write? Like, how do you manage your day to day? It's kind of personal for everybody, and it's different for everybody. Some people just like to block a couple hours every day and just put the pen down and just get the flow going. For me, it's always just being in the nature. Like, I usually write or record when I'm out on my hikes, right after
Like that.
meditation, active or passive, and then I take notes afterwards. So it's a different process for everybody. And I think the biggest takeaway is don't force yourself to do something, especially that's an advice that you're offering to other people.
I love that how you just highlighted it. I try to highlight that on a mental health break. What works for some doesn't work for everyone. We all have our own writing process, set different writing goals. You'll eventually get to where you want to go. Did you always want to write a book though, VK? Or what led to book number one?
Yeah, it was always there. Like, you won't
Yeah,
believe it. Like, when I was a kid, like having those nib, like the pens you can dip it in and write it.
right.
And I was just fascinated by them, and they're not cheap, and I never had one of them. But what I used to do is, I grew up in India, so you see vultures and all these animals. So vultures feathers is what's traditionally been used to dip it in the ink and write. So I used to collect these feathers and
Very
then
cool.
use that. So it's just kind of a memory for me. Like, I was doing this, but I never really thought like planning another, per se. But that was always there.
Well, you seem very ambitious. You have four already. Is there plans for book five?
There's always like I write, and most of the writing, like, either from the journals or the conversations that I have with my team and the network. There's a lot you can learn from somebody's journey. And I think, especially on the mental health aspect of it and how it kind of relates to your business or personal life, like it's kind of intertwined in many ways. So, how do you untangle and detangle that trauma so you're kind of excelling in business and life?
Keep up the great work, VK. I look forward to seeing all that you accomplish. Where can we find these books? Where can we find more about you?
They're all on my website, lakkineni.com, LAKKINENI.com, or even if you are on Amazon, you can find my author page.
All right. Well, thank you for all you do for the world, from the nonprofits to writing all these books. It was great to connect with you. Thank your team. And I wish everyone a great week ahead. We have episode 4 coming next Sunday. But until then, be sure to check out VK online, check out all his books. And we are at Writing with Authors, and I am at Vincent A. Lanci. Thank you for tuning in. And VK, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Vincent. Appreciate you.
Of course.